Oh, he's back.
What's up, boys?
How we doing, DDP?
My buddy Ice Train was over here today, and I uh, I've developed these things. They're called BFR, blood flow restriction bands, and he's got like 24-inch arms. So I wanted to test them on someone who break these son of a bitches. Yeah. So they did the Harold Hogue test, so I'm good to go. So how are you guys, man? Let me see. Am I? There we go. That look better.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Welcome
God,
to the show.
a lot of crazy shit in wrestling lately.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Are you keeping up on the product? Are you watching it?
Yeah, I'm watching. I don't watch it like all of it, but I watch pieces of it. And I heard you guys talking about CM Punk. Wow, that's. I've always said, and everybody pretty much knows this who's a wrestling fan. The real wrestling fans know that the stories that go on behind the scenes are way better than the ones you get to see on the TV. So yeah, man, I really today is Wednesday. Will this actually air today?
I'll have it out either by tonight or tomorrow morning.
Okay, so we'll see what happens tonight. There's always if you remember the stuff that happened with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. I mean, nothing was. I mean, Bret did a whole, and it wasn't trying to do a documentary about it. It just happened to be a part of his documentary. You have sometimes you have a lot of clashing egos that happen. First of all, to be able to do what we do, what I did at that level, you have to have a super ego. You really do. Now, to me, it's always keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and, know who you are. Know when you have to stand up for yourself. But that press conference, I was like, wow. Can you imagine if it was Vince McMahon sitting next to, or Triple H for that matter?
I mean, he's in a sweatshirt with a bottle of water, and you don't see Vince McMahon and Triple H wearing sweatshirts, doing press conferences. I don't know. That just rubbed me the wrong way a little bit.
Well, that didn't bother me so much. It's like I really like Tony Khan a lot. I like him as a human being. I've met him. I've hung out with him. He's the first billionaire, and I've met a few billionaires. Most of them pretty, really, they live in their own world, So I really like him. I think that he was totally caught off guard with all of that, but someone who has been experienced amount of time in the business might have been a little bit different there. I don't know, but wow.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was looking at Tony Khan's face, and he was just like, "What is happening right now?" And I could see Vince would have that vein popping out of his head.
Oh, he is smart. Vince would. I think Vince. I would have really been interesting to see, if you could go back in time and just to see, because you can remember when Vince knocked the papers out of Bob Costa's hands.
Yes.
All he was doing was asking him some, uncomfortable questions.
Right.
So, but I just can't imagine what would have happened there, man. It's. I'll tell you what. Eric Bischoff wrote a book about it. Controversy, creates cash or whatever, his name of his title of his book. But he was still right. Bischoff's a genius to the business. I knew him all the way through it. And the cat really is one of the smartest guys ever in our business. But controversy creates everything. So there's going to be a ton of controversy And from what I heard, I don't know because it's all secondhand nature, but I heard, hands were thrown. I heard, I didn't know who exactly they were thrown with, but I knew that, that it was, everybody was talking about it. And it's funny because I really focused, I didn't watch that pay-per-view, and I heard it was great. For AEW All In. I was really focusing on, for my podcast, because now for DDP Snake Pit, and Jake couldn't even be there because he's on the road, and we couldn't get together to do the podcast when we needed to do it. So I did it with Conrad, and we were focused on a hell of a show that the WWE did with the Castle. Drew and I are really tight. We have been for a decade, and I really thought like this is his day, right?
Yeah,
I mean, right, hometown crowd.
I mean, like that crowd was so hot.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and you knew it was hot when the girls got out there, and those girls. I mean, WWE has that, and I'm a huge Britt Baker fan. I watched her like pretty much from her infancy come up. And when Cody was the one who really was behind her because he saw it. He saw she could work. She was getting consistently better. But when he gave her the mic and put her with Tony, that girl became a superstar. A superstar along the level of WWE superstar, and I think Rosa is another phenomenal, and of course you look at Jade, she is, her idol was, China, and she looks better than 90% of the guys, like she's a beast. So, but if you look at WWE, they've got 30 girls. That are of that caliber as far as workers coming up, but 15 that are unbelievable. But that
lost him for a second.
The bottom, that's damn spam thing in here. You guys give me a second, I'll get off the damn phone call so people can't call me in here. Let me just hit that. Okay, cool. I'm still going. All right, how do I get back to you guys? Oh, there you are.
There we go.
But I thought that whole card from A to Z was friggin', really well done. And when I realized that there was 6 matches,
it was very short, which is not that's an NXT kind of thing almost. Doing a 6-match card, so it didn't tire you out.
Right, and you got everything that you wanted, unless you really wanted Drew to win, which, again, I'm of the school when a guy like Drew doesn't win, because of who Roman is, and he is the guy, been it for 2 years, on top of the top, but he's been there for 8 or more. He took Cena's spot. When Cena left after carrying it for 10 years. And he's the heel. It's just going to be that much better when you finally get it. Because you had to wait, and you had to wait, and you had to wait. But, man, I really think that the main reason that they didn't do it was because people expected it. And it was we know this is going to happen. But I would have loved to see it happen for Drew. Just those people would have went batshit crazy. And I think I would have given it to him and put them on Friday and took it right off him if they wanted to take it right off him. You know what I mean? It was like the night I wrestled Goldberg at Halloween Havoc, The people, they were huge Goldberg fans, but they were huge DDP fans too. Double babyface match. If I beat him there, it's a different level.
Yeah.
It's just a different level, and I could have put him over the next night, and it just would have been like got it right back, But the card from top to bottom, I thought was really well done. The show, I mean, I loved the match with Sheamus and Gunther because they beat the fuck out of each other. you're watching that as a fan, and you're like a casual fan. You're like, oh my god, this shit, that shit really, like that's real. They're beating the fuck out of each other. Remind me like a Dick Murdoch type of Gunther
that old school
badass.
Wrestling. Yeah,
that old school brawling. Brawling.
Sheamus's chest afterwards was just like tenderized meat.
I was sore watching it.
Well, that just cut out like 10 of the questions I had for you because I wanted to talk to you about it. So.
Well, we got plenty. There's still plenty of things to talk about within it. I'll tell you my besides Drew and when you have to follow a match, my favorite match besides the main event was Edge and Mysterio, with Dominic. I'm a huge. As soon as I saw Judgment Day originally coming on, and this is still from the old regime, I thought it was so well done. And Edge being in that spot, giving it to you like, this is who we are, and then the flip and bringing in Finn. If you look at Finn Balor literally has had every title.
Yeah.
But they've never taken him to that next spot.
Right.
And this guy should be, because he is not just an unbelievable wrestler and athlete and entertainer. I mean, he has it all. And what to me, you see, like, Triple H to me doesn't have to have you be 6'4" and 270 pounds, because the toughest fuckers I ever fought in the real world were 5'7" and 5'8", and fucking man, I'd rather fight the big guy, because everybody knows that littler guys are tougher,
Yes,
because they got something to prove, and the way, Tommaso Ciampa is one of the toughest son of bitches you will ever meet. One of the nicest human beings on top of that, but not the biggest guy, but believable as fuck.
Oh yeah.
So that's I think the big thing, and I'm excited. Like, we've changed our format, me and Jake, from doing the evergreen stuff, because that's the easy shit. We could talk about that all the time, but want to be more current with the product, and the product being Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW, and if Impact does something that grabs your attention, to give it the whole thing, and just to be. And I'm not gonna talk about the shit I think is lame, because everybody does that. I'm just gonna pick the things, and Jake will too, that we like. I'm sure Jake will be a little critical at times. But the one thing that I know, Jake, I don't think he saw the pay-per-view, but if you look at that, like the matches, they all had time to tell stories.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things that lacks in athletic matches, where it's a bump into a bump into a bump into a bump, a lot of that times you would do that to get your shit in a short period of time. Well, now they've got longer matches, but they still use that psychology. And if you don't stay down, if the super kick doesn't take you out, or the Canadian Destroyer doesn't take you out, and then something else that you do is like, what the fuck was that? It doesn't take you out. Why the fuck do I care?
Right.
Because if your 5-year-old nephew pokes you in the eye, you're not going to know selling. You're going to go, holy fuck. Oh my God. Oh my God!
Yeah.
You know, so wrestling is storytelling, and you sell the shit. Now, at the end, if you want to, because you're so excited, and its truth is, you can be beat the fuck and standing like Godzilla. Get to the back, take the shower, and all of a sudden it's like, oh God. So I understand.
Out of you.
But during the match, you need to tell a story. And did Edge get I mean, Mysterio got an unbelievable response. Mysterio, son and father and son, which I love those guys. But when Edge came out, did he get a hell of a response or what? They went batshit crazy. And I love the fact that he can go out there and get this second run and fucking look as good as he did in the first part. Actually looks better, than some of his earlier shit, But I'm so proud of him. So, they had, the match was phenomenal. You completely forgot about who did the job once Dominic got done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And I'm really interested to see where that goes. And Ray's gonna it's got to be just walking on clouds. Have you guys seen? Speaking of Ray, have you seen his documentary on A&E?
I have. I did DVR. I'm catching up on it now. All of them now. I just watched the DX one yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see that one yet. But Ray's, I was doing the show with Conrad on Monday, and he was like, "Dude, have you seen Ray's documentary yet?" I said, "No, I haven't." My wife and I started watching it like right around the time we normally go to bed, and we stayed up, watched the whole thing all the way through. I mean, he has such an unbelievable story. I encourage anyone who's listening to really check out all the documentaries. They just contacted me about doing one, which I'm looking forward to. But they're really well done. Really well done.
Yeah, and it's funny because this is something I wanted to ask you, so I'm glad you brought up the A&E stuff. In the DX one, and we had Vince Russo on a couple months ago, and he talked about this as well. In the DX one, there's the night where where DX comes with the tank to the WCW arena. And if you listen to the Bischoff interviews, he said, "I didn't know that was happening." Vince Russo told us on the show he knew what was going on. Everybody knew what was going on, but the insurance wouldn't let them bring it in because somebody got hurt, blah, blah, blah. So you were there, obviously, I'm sure. What was it like seeing DX like roll up onto your arena?
I didn't know till it was over, and I was kind of bummed. I would love to have, what would have happened, if, a few of the boys went out there and saw that. Like, first of all, everybody loves each other, but it was a competition. It was a competition, and we were kicking their ass at that time. Yeah. But they had some good things coming, man. Of course, DX was big, but it was Austin and Vince that changed the tide. But who's the first guy to really put himself in that position of getting his ass kicked was Eric Bischoff.
Yeah.
You never saw Vince take anything before Bischoff got powerbombed by Nash to the stage. As I say, Bischoff was an innovator, man. He was a real innovator, and you get to see in the Rey Mysterio thing that, of course, Paul with ECW brought in Mysterio and Psychosis. The brilliance of that was not putting Rey against somebody from ECW, bringing in his guy who he dances with.
Yeah,
I got to tell you a story about this. So it's 91, right? So it's 92 at the time because it's the PWI awards, right? Rookie of the Year. And I'm like, fuck, this is going to be amazing. I can't wait to be the fucking PWI Rookie of the Year. It gives me some validation. And then Eric Watts, who's one of my closest buddies forever, comes in October or maybe September, starts training, And then he beats Arn Anderson. He beats a ton of guys, which got him so much heat. Oh my God. His father put so much heat on him. But he wins the Rookie of the Year, PWI. And I'm thinking, you know what? I know Meltzer, even though I'm not as big as fucking guy he loves, friggin'. But as a Rookie of the Year, I know I'm going to be the Rookie of the Year in PWI. I mean, in Meltzer's Observer thing, and I get the sheets and I look at it and I go, "Who the fuck is Rey Mysterio?" So, a couple of years later, here's Rey. And he's making his, debut on WCW, and I hear the name Rey Mysterio. That's like a sore spot for me at the time, right?
You're like Rey Mysterio's here. Where the fuck is he?
Exactly. I went right to the gorilla spot, and all I had to watch was Rey about 4 minutes, and maybe 3 minutes, and I realized, wow. I was a really distant second place. I go, here I am at 6 years old, and Ray was 15. Yeah. So
he's still doing it exactly the same way 30 years later too. It's incredible.
I don't know how. I mean, I've always said that if Ray would have been a gymnast, he would have been an Olympic gold medalist. Yeah. No, I've never seen anybody, especially, you have to remember that he's the trailblazer. He was doing, Mexican wrestling was doing a lot of stuff similar, but not at that level.
Right.
Like he was doing shit that only superhero, like how can you control your body?
Yeah.
How can you take the chance of flying through the air like that and just gripping your toes on it? I mean, it was just amazing to watch. And it's funny because they show it in the match where Conan and Ray go against Nash and Hall, and he gets demasked.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a really big deal for Ray, man. Like, that's heritage and, Mystique and Mysterio, it really bummed him out. But then I want to say it was within a month or two, Nash puts him over in the middle.
Yeah.
And Nash was one of the bookers at that time, and everybody thought he was crazy. But he saw something in Ray that nobody else did. And
that
that's
that was the Giant Slayer
character.
Yeah.
Sorry
to cut you off.
No, that's okay. That's the brilliance of Kevin Nash. Friggin', like he had some moments that weren't as great as a booker, but there was a couple of things he did that were pretty amazing. And he takes a lot of heat, but I think a lot of it's bullshit because people just want to complain about shit, but they don't. Those same people who complain about Nash up and down got in the room with him, and not because he's 6'10" and 300 pounds and scary as fuck, but just mentally, he would make you understand why he did 85 to 90% of the stuff that he did, and you go, oh well, coming from it from that angle. He's super. I think the smartest guy in the business, maybe ever. Just the way everything.
We were talking about this. Was it last week with Triple H making Shawn Michaels the vice president of?
Creative?
Creative.
Yeah.
We're thinking when is the Nash going to come in? We're thinking there's going to be a whole, bringing all his friends in, and we were talking about how Kevin Nash's mind is so great. It's such a great wrestling mind. Aside with Triple H, brought him in, how crazy it would be.
Well, first of all, you got to remember that Shawn has been with him, like that whole NXT thing.
Yeah,
I will never forget. I was up filming something, Best of Nitros or something, and I just said, "Can I get him to see Paul?" and we're buddies, So, but he's got a crazy schedule. So just getting to see him is a big deal.
Yeah.
And I said, let me go down and train some of these guys down there because some of them are going to get it. And I'm going to be able to help your athletes stay healthier. And he said, I want you to wait until I open this performance center. It's going to be state of the art. And he walked me through the whole thing. He had little drawings of it and everything. And that was his baby. And Sean was down there for probably most of it as the guy who stayed there. Like, who better to learn from than probably, I always got to say Nate is one of the greatest, maybe the greatest of all time. But I put Shawn Michaels like right there with him because again, the rap, the promos, the work, the look, the heat-seeking missile or the over baby face. Like Shawn can do it all and understand psychology. Jake Roberts is always seen as maybe the godfather of psychology when it comes to professional wrestling, but Shawn Michaels is right there, like right there with him, so let's get WWE where it needs to be. And we've seen 6 matches instead of 11. Mm-hmm. And that's how many AEW had. So you're jamming so much in there. As a wrestling fan, you want to see the match. You want to be involved. You want to feel what the guys are feeling, because today it isn't like people think it's real, right? But they know the real part is you can't fake the gravity.
Yep.
The real part is the punishment that everyone takes. Is all you got to do is go to a WrestleCon or any friggin' wrestling autograph signing to see the guys who can't walk or in wheelchairs or aren't even there anymore because they can't leave their house.
No, we just met Dango a couple months ago, and he said his leg is all messed up. His ankle and his knee is all messed up.
Oh yeah, bad. Yeah. But he beat his body up in wrestling, but that was from a car accident because of not looking out for Buff. Like right now, he's in rehab.
No, we said Fandango we're talking about.
Oh, Fandango. I thought you said Buff. No. Fandango. What a great... you never really got... Like, that guy could really go. Like, he is a very, very, very talented kid. I hated seeing him. Even though he got Fandango over in the beginning, I knew it would only go so far. And that guy, when he was a big killer, before he ever went in there. And what a great kid he is. So his leg is messed up now.
Yeah, we saw him a couple months ago.
He did wrestle the match, but he said that his leg was completely trashed from wrestling.
Yeah, man. So, knees, back, hips, like the whole deal. Like, the only reason DDP Yoga exists is because I fucked up my body so bad they said I could never wrestle again. So, I was always trying to find ways to hold back the hands of time, Like I ice my knees and my back with the big ice bag. You could get it at Walgreens. But I would ice them and put ice bandages on them and stick it between my sweats. We drove to the next town. And everybody be like, why are you doing that? Because it takes down the inflammation. Right. And I'm 35. Like, my career doesn't take off till I'm in my 40s, Right. So, and I'm in better shape than 85 to 90% of the guys who are 50 and up, and I'm 66. Yeah. So, again, what I'm showing people how to do is just trying to help them stay healthy. I'll have to reach out to Fandango. I didn't realize that. Maybe I don't think I've ever turned to one of their program. But it all helps, whatever it helps to, keep you together,
It's funny you said about icing up before you drove, because there was something I did want to... We interviewed a couple months ago Kwee, Alan Funk.
Oh, yeah,
and
good guy.
He said to us, if we ever talk to DDP asked him why he wouldn't move his seat up. And he said that there was a story where I think it was you two and Randy and Gorgeous George were traveling, and you told him to get in the back seat, and he asked you to move your seat up, and you wouldn't do it. And he said to ask you about this story.
Well, for knees, if I can't straighten my knees, like, you know, like it being bent, I can do that for a while now, or even back then. But if I can't straighten them, I got to be able to straighten the thing. I was like, sit long ways, bro. You got the whole back seat. You're good. But, you know, for me, like, I tried to go just me and another guy so I could just be in that lounge chair position. Kevin Nash used to call me the tallest 6'4" guy alive.
Oh, my God. Vinny, you got something? Because I wanted to ask him.
I just had a question from one of my friends that lives down here. You know, we're all from New Jersey.
What part? What part, Vinny?
Oh, I live down in the Jersey Shore now, and so does Ryan. But I'm
in Brick.
We're originally
no shit.
Yeah, I'm in Lacey right now.
Okay,
So
Brick. My sister. I was just in Brick because I was up to see my sister, my brother-in-law, and my mom, and they live in Brick.
I know your sister.
Oh, you know Sally?
I know Sally Travel Smith. I'm very good friends with your niece Caitlin. She lives down in North Carolina now.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I think you used to work for one of my old bosses at a bar in Seaside back in the day called Yakety Yak.
You know, it's probably a different name. It was I think Temptations was the name back then.
Yeah, but it was this guy John Duress. I worked for him for a while, and he said that when Caitlin and I worked for him, he goes, "Oh, Paige, I know Paige. I used to have to kick his ass out of the bar all the time."
No, he's full of shit.
my friend was wondering because he apparently went to the same high school that you did. It was a Catholic school.
Oh, you mean the one I got thrown out of?
Yes, he wanted to know why you got thrown out of it. Was it Madoc? Is it Madoc? I don't know.
It was named after one of the priests or whatever, but when I was there, it was St. Joe's.
Okay.
You know, and you know, it was the locker rooms. You know, today you get your head chopped off for this, but back in the old days, girls' locker rooms across from the boys' locker room, and you know, occasionally girls would get thrown in there, and you know, shit happens, and next thing you know, I'm like. But I didn't really do it, and I'm the one who took the heat, and I really loved St. Joe's too. It was a good school, but the town I was from, Point Pleasant Borough, that's where I went back to, and for my last 4 years, like 7th and 8th grade, and then freshman and part of sophomore year, I went to Catholic school, which you know has way more rules.
We did Catholic school.
Yeah, and we both were asked nicely not to come back. So
yeah,
so you know what I mean. So you know, but I really like St. Joe's. I like the basketball program, and a lot of us were from Point Pleasant who went there, and so as freshmen, our basketball team was undefeated, and of the three guys just went from freshman year to go to JV, but 3 of us ended up on the starting as sophomores, and so I really wanted to go the whole ride with those guys, and that didn't come to fruition because I was a part of something stupid. It happens, but it was really funny.
You're at now. They're probably like, damn, we could have dedicated a wing.
Yeah, it all works. I appreciate you guys making the time to come in during the afternoon part of the day. By the way, I appreciate that.
We appreciate you coming on. I know, I told the story to Vinny. I was literally out cutting my grass, and I came in and I see I had a missed call and a text message, and the Verizon ID just said Paige Dallas, and I go, no fucking way. Like, how? Give me a call when you get a chance. Yeah, absolutely. I fucking call you right back. And I'll never forget. I was like, hey, it's good to hear from you. Like, well, yeah, if you knew why I was calling, you wouldn't say that. And I was like,
well, I appreciate you guys taking that down because, it's, now Buff he's in rehab, and he's really doing well, like really good. We'll get you go. As soon as he gets out, we know where he's at. We'll definitely get him back on the show so you really can see, like, because Marcus is one of those guys like Jake was. Like when we were doing, like, just let me back it up. Without Dusty Rhodes, there is no Diamond Dallas Page. And he didn't give me my first break, but he gave me all the ones that meant something after that. And he was always my mentor through it all. And Jake was someone that first of all, as a kid, I was a huge wrestling fan and tried to wrestle when I was 23. I actually went through like 3 months of 1 day a week wrestling and found myself in 3 different matches that I sucked in. How could I be any good? I was wrestling once or twice a week. And bottom line is I hurt my knee, and the doc said, take off a month or 2. And I got a chance to run my first little rock and roll joint. And then the booze, the broads, and the party took me on a different route. And I kind of forgot about the dream, And then WrestleMania blows up. It was 79 when I was wrestling. And in the 80s, we know what happened with WrestleMania. And I was so pissed that I didn't pay my dues that I completely stopped watching. Because I knew all it was do is eat at me. Like, you should have been there. You should have paid your dues. You should have I knew by that time, put the work in, and anything's possible. Well, I used to say work ethic equals results. Inside my Hall of Fame ring, it says work ethic equals dreams! Exclamation point, DDP. And I knew it, and I just stopped watching because I couldn't frustrate myself anymore. And then one night I was flicking the channels, and I see Gorilla Monsoon, who I grew up with, right? I'm like, Gorilla, this is great. Let me watch it for a couple minutes. And I say, who the fuck is this dude? He's got a leather coat on and a boa, crazy sunglasses and a do-rag. And it's Jesse Ventura. I'm like, this fucking guy is amazing. Because I hadn't seen anything in years, right? And then the first guy to walk out of the curtain had a bag over his shoulder and the Fu Manchu. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, he got super swag. Mm-hmm. And of course, it's Jake the Snake Roberts. And I watch him in the ring. And I'm like, fuck, I can't see through his shit. I'm like, and with wrestling, you could see through a lot of guys' shit, but you couldn't see through friggin' Jake's or guys like DiBiase, guys, like Randy Savage, guys who could really work. And could be, snug. And then I saw him cut a promo, and I was like, I was sucked back into wrestling as a fan.
Yeah.
And then I'm running a huge club in 85, 86, 87 in Fort Myers, Florida, and he shows up. And out of it, we become drinking buddies.
Oh, nice.
He tells the the boys that if you worked Miami one night and then you worked Tampa the next, that's 300 miles, and it goes from East Coast to West Coast. So you got to come across Alligator Alley and then come on up. Well, Fort Myers is the first town you really hit that's going to be a little bit of life to it, and we had the club. So Jake told, hey, you should go by and that Norma Jeans. The guy there runs a joint, take care of you. This is a picture that Luke, the Bushwhackers, right? He put this picture up on Facebook not too long ago. and that's, of course, me. Look at that crazy head of hair. Luke and Ted DiBiase. And on the picture, he put DDP before he was DDP. Later that night, that's me and Ted DiBiase. Is that tremendous? Ted came to my house for a week, and his wife, Mel, sweetheart. And we're sitting on the porch after dinner, And he's getting him, teaching him, the workout and get the movements down and helping him just get more mobile. And after we're having a little glass of wine up on the porch, and he tells that I couldn't believe he remembered that story. And I walked downstairs, grabbed the picture. I go, "You mean this night?" And it was classic. But Jake was the first guy to, when he came into WCW, was the same time I had gone from being a manager to a wrestler, mainly because they made me. Right. Because I was taking too much attention away from the boys. And Jake, really helped me. And I would try to help him because I knew he was an addict at that point. And I tried to help him. And over the years, because he smartened me up. Him and Dusty, smart. I had the two greatest mentors who were completely on opposite sides of the spectrum, but both could work and drew huge money. And they both believed in me so much. And I always tell people, never underestimate the power someone gives you by believing in you, and Dream really did it, and so did Jake. So when I went to go back to try to help Jake again, and he came into my house and we took care of him, and then his prices started to go up for appearances. People realized he was going to show up. We would send someone with him. When he fucked up, you could tell it really bothered him. Like he didn't want to be that guy who fucked up again. And Marcus is in the same spot. Like he doesn't want to be that guy, but when your drug is like Xanax, and Xanax by themselves, you take one, you're okay, but start taking 2, 3, 4, it gets a little bit worse, but you're still just taking one drug. It's when you mix that drug with like a soma, which is like the life killer of muscle relaxers, and then you have a beer or two. I'm only having a beer or two. Well, that kicks everything in. Yeah. And that's where he could get, and that's what you guys saw that night. That's why I said I was pretty sure you guys taking that down, because I want to try to, he was doing so good, and then he just fucking hit a trigger, and that's when we sat him down. Like, dude, you got to go. Like, you want me to continue helping you? You got to help you, And his niece Jana, like one of the things that people are going to see, like we were filming this docu-series, Change or Die, and that was at the time, we're filming the docu-series, and he really was doing so good at times, like so good. And like any addict, you got to fall a couple of times along the way. Some guys can just stop and they're done for life. And it's always there, but they're done and they got through it. But it's surrounding yourself with people who care, and aren't going to influence you, or, like I never drank around Jake. Today I could. Today if I want to have a glass of wine, he don't give a fuck because he's owning it. But it took years, and the fog to clear and stuff. So Marcus actually going up there, because he can leave that rehab anytime he wants. It's one of those deals. You can leave if you want. Like, I'm not going to help you. Like, you got to do the time, and it can't be like, I feel better now. I'm great. Like, yeah, you felt better in 6 days over here.
Yeah.
And let's do something that can really stick with it. Let's try to help rebrand you, and because he is a really good dude, but that fucking addiction is a fucking bad animal, man.
I've definitely in my family. I've seen it firsthand, and sometimes you have to have some tough love on people for them to kind of understand, like, hey, this is the red line, and you cross it. No matter how much I love you, I got to cut you off, because if that's going to help you, instead of enabling them at points. When we saw the interview we had, I kind of saw it more. I thought it was more like punch drunk, like, just
Right.
being for so long, like, repeating himself and some stories. And then when you brought it up, I was like, okay, now I could see where, he spent
Right.
20 years with the guy. He obviously knows him better than I have for the second interview I've ever, known him. So yeah, obviously, we're glad that, you got in contact with us and we were able to take it down, and he's on the road to, recovery and get the help that he
Hopefully, as
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
with people in your family,
Yeah.
everybody has someone either in their family or close to them,
Yeah.
that has an issue, and it is what it is. So you just got to work around it. Like Jake, when we were filming, did you guys ever see The Resurrection of Jake the Snake?
No, I have not, but I just found out about it in my defense, so I will be watching it. as soon
No,
as I
that's
can.
okay. I'll tell you everything. Just let people know on your show. Like if you go to Amazon Prime, and most people have that,
Right.
The Resurrection of Jake the Snake, and our other documentary called Relentless. That's really great for people who are looking, who are trying to do something and they just haven't been able to do it yet, and they get frustrated. It's a really great, any entrepreneur should watch it. Anyone who's looking for something that's, you'll see, because we literally, my business partner Steve, you and I, we've only been together as partners since 2012, but we've been buddies for 20 years, and he started filming me like 19 years ago. So we had all this film,
Oh, wow.
good and the friggin' down,
Uh-huh.
the up and the down of everything. So it was really, the Relentless is a documentary of, for me, blowing my back out to where we are today, and the trials and tribulations of getting out of wrestling and what that does and what your direction is. And I tell guys all the time, have your next thing while you're doing this.
Yep.
So you're ready for the transition. I mean, the NFL, guy gets hurt, he's done.
Oh, average NFL players, I think 3 years professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you can't get the retirement package unless you work 3.5 years.
Yep. Yeah.
3.5 years, that's all you need. And
Yeah.
you can get a nice retirement in the NFL. But a lot of guys don't make it.
Yeah. It's incredible.
No.
When it comes to DDP yoga and your program, do you go and reach out to guys that you recognize can need help, or do they come to you, or is it kind of a mix of
Are we talking about people in my business, or just people
in your business?
It's really funny. A lot of time, Jericho has always been my biggest supporter, because they said his career was over, just like mine. And just the clip notes for me were, I start wrestling at 35 and a half. My career took off right as I was about to turn 41. And that was with the whole Savage thing and the NWO thing. And then for 2 years, I worked a schedule that, 270 plus days in the ring. Then never mind all the PR I did, all the friggin' shit I did with Hollywood Squares and, Kilburn Show and Leno and, doing the shit with the Tonight Show, Malone and, Rodman and friggin' all these celebrities, teaching them too. I mean, dude, I worked around the clock, and I just wore myself out, and then I finally ruptured my L4 and L5 so badly, 3 spine specialists told my career's over. And that's where DDP yoga comes from. The guy who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga the first 42 years of my life, now, like, that's a real ally for me. And when my first wife, Kim, turned me onto it, and I really started to feel a difference, and there was no modifications. So I had to figure shit out. But that's what I do. It's like, I'm going to do something. Like, I never friggin' did a documentary before we did Resurrection Jake Snake, but we did it. We never did friggin' a company like what we have, and then we did it, and then we figured it out. And then to do this docu-series, oh my God, that is so involved, creating 8 to 10 episodes. We don't even know what it's going to be, but we know it's a minimum of 8. But it's like so much to figure out, but we do. And people who don't say, I don't know how to do that, fucking figure it out, So the thing for me is figure out how to heal myself. And Kimberly, who's my wife at the time, she's like Gumby. There's no modifications. I'll just lower to a knee, or I'll do something that's not cheat till I didn't have to cheat anymore. And then before you knew it, I said, wow, it's starting to feel better. I'm doing the rehab, and I just mixed them. And then I threw in old school calisthenics done with a slow burn movement, which made me figure out that every time you flex or engage a muscle, think time under tension. Think bench pressing. Your feet are pushed into the friggin' ground if it's heavy weight. So you're engaging your feet, your quads, your glutes. Now let's go to where you're really lifting. Your hands, your forearms, your triceps, your pecs, shoulders. All these muscles are coming in. And what's happening is your heart rate's going up. So I did that with no weight. I called it dynamic resistance. It started like pull, 3, 2, 1, push, 3, 2, but really pushing like it's weight.
Right.
And next thing you know, I created this workout, kick-ass cardio. Like if you have the app, which is 7 days for free, anybody can try this for nothing. 7 days for free. If you have a Bluetooth heart monitor, it'll come up on the screen.
Oh, wow.
And tell you where you are. And at the end of the workout, it'll tell you how long were you in your not in your zone, how long were you in your fat burning zone, how long were you in your anaerobic zone, and then tell you how many calories you burned. And that's just one of the little pieces of the app. But I created a kick-ass fucking workout, cardio workout that would dramatically increase your flexibility, strengthen your core at a whole different level. And Scott Hall came up with this term, minimal joint impact. Because my lawyer wouldn't let me say no impact because there's the tiniest bit. But Scott figured it out when he was living with me during the Resurrection Jake Snake. So for Jericho, well, we'll go back to me. In less than 3 months, I was back in the ring. At 42, they said my career's over. At 43, I got that world title belt behind me. So I knew I would have to do it the rest of my life because I'm really beat up. I'm still a Ferrari, but I got 998,000 miles on me, right? So Jericho was the same thing, but he was 41, and he had been doing Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
And all that lifting and pulling and lifting and pulling after 20 years in the ring, boom, done. So much pain. 5 weeks of doing my program, 85% pain-free, 3 months pain-free. He headlined with Punk at WrestleMania in Miami in 2000, I guess it was 11. And Chris put us out there. So he would just call me and say, AJ's back is fucked. He just came in from Japan. He's going to start in 3 weeks. I pick up the phone. I got AJ's number. I go, bro, get down here.
Right.
He comes down. Freaking, he does it 5 days a week. Wonder why AJ, 7 years later, can still go like a fucking madman?
Crazy,
This is one of the reasons at 45 to still be going like he's 24. Yeah. Jericho, if I'm a professional athlete and I see Jericho doing the shit that he still does, I'm not sure he's 51 or 52. I think he's 51. If that motherfucker I want to know what the fuck he's doing, And so many guys have come to like that. And Drew McIntyre came up here when he freaking tore his bicep, and after he got the big push coming in, and then they had to sit him down for a bit. He drove 7.5 hours to work out with me privately, then do a class with everybody, then watch our first time we had done Relentless, like the first take of it, and turned around and drove 7.5 hours home.
Holy cow.
I mean, Tommaso Ciampa broke his neck. Can I come in after I'm done with their rehab? Come in and spend 2 days with me. Ivar, same thing. So they either find Rey Mysterio. Have you guys seen his Doc Dinosaur? We talk about that?
Yeah, you talked about it. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, but I just texted him how great I thought it was. We went back and forth. I said, next time you come in, fucking stay with me. Fucking let me friggin' wine you and dine you and let me help you. And he's like, dude, I've been saying I'm going to do this for so long. I promise I'm coming when I come to Atlanta. So whether he does or not, I'm here for them.
Right.
Whenever they need me, I've got a huge fucking McMansion, and I take care of everybody. And this is a wellness center, dude, because I've got so many things besides my program that I'm literally putting an ice bath in right now, bringing hot tub, steam room, infrared sauna, hyperbaric chamber. I just got a Livo 2, which is all about oxygen, hypervention. What's it called? God, I can't think of the word right now. But when you're wearing this mask that goes into a tube, into a bag, the top 7 feet of the bag is 90% oxygen. The lower 2 feet is deprivation oxygen. So it's like being anywhere from 12,000 feet
high altitude,
to 23,000 feet.
Wow.
And now when you're breathing in, it's called hypoxia. And where you really you got to, and you're riding the bike or you're doing the treadmill. I can't, even though I get my heart rate up, I can't do it with my stuff because of the hose and shit. But it works, and you deprivation of, you take away the oxygen, because we're breathing 21% right now.
Right.
How mine's set up right now, when I got it set for 14%, then I went to 13%. Now I'm at 12%, and it gets scary because your brain only knows, I can't breathe. Like, I'm not getting any oxygen, So one time I actually pulled it off my head. All I had to do was pull a switch, and I would have 90%. But I still pulled it off. And I've had 2 of my buddies do it too, where because it's fight or flight, So when guys come in, like I'm talking to Adam Cole right now, because I want him to, we talked about him coming in because he's had the concussion thing, and I want to help him with the protocol. And when he gets finally time, he'll find his way to me. He's such a great kid. So that's basically what I'm doing, boys. And I appreciate you, especially Jersey boys. I didn't know that. You would have had a leg up right there.
See, we've just solved the mystery where Tom Brady was for 11 days, though. He was at DDP's house getting ready for the season. That's what.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the way he eats, pretty much the way I eat. How he trains, pretty much the stuff that I do. And you want to know why that son of a bitch is still going at 45? Last year, I don't know how he even could have thought he could have retired. It was his best year ever.
Yeah.
And they've changed, and we all know that they've changed the game too. It ain't Jim Kelly's days, man. Jimmy, I'll leave you on this quote here. Fucking Jimmy is a buddy of mine, and we were at dinner. I don't know, fucking 15 years ago, and I said to him, I said, Jimbo, I gotta know, because we all got that when we get hit, take a bad bump. Whatever it is, like when you got hit by LT, all those fucking times, dude. I go, how the fuck did you get up in the snow and the sleet? That animal just fucking got off of you and pushed your fucking helmet in the mud. And he said, all I could hear was my brothers going, get the fuck up, motherfucker. You're not hurt. Get the fuck up.
That's great.
Oh, classic. All right, boys. I have to head to my next venture. It was fun hanging with you.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys, man. And again, after we make sure Mr. Bagwell's up and moving forward, no more Buff, though. Marcus. Because Buff is a bit of a fuck up.
Okay.
So let's try to keep him on a straight path. I mean, I appreciate you guys. All right.
I appreciate you too. Next time you're in Brick, you know, you got my number. Give me a call.
You got it, brother. Have a great day, buddy.
Thanks
See
so
you
much.
guys.
Bye.